Greetings. Hola world, it's your girl Majestic. I'm loving life and I'm living life to the fullest. I'm enjoying life. It's beautiful. It's rewarding. It's aligning. It's driven. It's purpose. It's bliss. It's abundant. It's catastrophic. Life is just life. Now, I hopped on here today because I wanted to express and explain what Spirit laid on my heart. And the topic is about why, like, what's going on in your world and why the Masons have to do what they do. Okay? It's very important that we understand because a lot of people talk about the Masons, but it's like levels to consciousness, right? The rabbit hole never ends. And it's up to you, like how strong you are to keep going deeper and deeper. But the deeper you go, the more answers you find. If you stay right there on the surface, you never find the answers, the keys. You just know that okay, there's groups of Masons out here like harming people, but the real question is why. And I'm here to explain that today. You see, the thing about masculine and feminine is that the truth is is this. You can, Bobby Hemmett can back me up. Savon Bomar can back me up because we have gone deep into consciousness, into understanding the truth. It's as within, so without. And so the consciousness within gives us our answers to the external. That's why there's an old Egyptian saying, to know thyself is to know the creator. Because the answers is within. So as you really, really dissect and understand your consciousness, your own self, you will begin to understand the placements of God and Satan in reality. Okay? To me, God and Satan are the same thing because there's one thing missing. Okay? And I don't want to throw you off, so just listen. So the thing about it is that our creator is really feminine. And this is going to make sense as to why the Masons have to do what they do. Okay? Mainly Masons target women if you're not aware. Mainly Eastern Stars target women if you're not aware. Okay? That's their main target. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay? A lot of these sororities is what keeps up your world, okay? A lot of these sororities are responsible for the world we live in now. They make sure. That's why they're the presidents, the CEOs, the bosses at the job. That's why they are who they are in the position they are in, because they hold up the world in a organization that really should not exist. Okay? This organization was built from the hands of liars. And you guys say that all the time, but this is really the root of it all. You guys say that all the time, but see, nobody's going down that rabbit hole within their self. When you know thyself, then everything becomes clear to you. But a lot of you are not walking in the correct ordainment to know the inner self. But see, in the inner self, we understand that the femininity holds a lot of strength. In the inner self, we understand that the presence of Creator is female. This is what we know. This is what everybody knows when they die. And that's why a lot of souls have to recycle, because the whole time they were worshiping the devil. You got to understand how these Masons don't believe in the spiritual realm. They don't believe, they think that this world is it, and when they die, it's just black. They're really atheists. They're really atheists. And so they thought that they can change the structure our creator ordained for us. They thought they could just do that and get mankind to follow them, get the humans to follow them. And the problem is that if you follow them, you'll follow them straight to hell. Because like I said, they never believed in the afterlife. And so, and a lot of them are persuaded by, there are certain energies and spirits in the afterlife that are stuck. And so a lot of them are persuaded by those entities and spirits, um, like what y'all call the fallen angels and things like that. They're stuck. And so to be stuck means that you never encounter a higher consciousness. You never can hold a higher level of consciousness, which is love, compassion, you know, those things, higher frequencies. And so this is why they influence these people to believe that there is no afterlife, and that, you know, have all the fun you want in this life, because, you know, and this is a way for these entities to exist, because truly we are just vessels, and the spirits can exist through us if we are not, you know, in alignment with ourselves. Then these spirits can jump in and out of our bodies and exist through us. And a lot of times that is what these fallen angels want to do, because they have been kicked out of heaven. They do not hold a high consciousness to even, they're just dead. They're dead. They're zombie. And they can live through people like, you know, Epstein. Even though Epstein's actions are low vibrational, they've tricked the world into praising people like that, which allows them the illusion of, you know, luxury, and the illusion of, you know, money goes in the pockets mostly of the liars and the thieves. And so this even though their frequency doesn't match their wallet, because they've tricked the world into praising these kind of people, it gives these fallen angels a chance to exist and feel like, you know, I finally get to have a high frequency. Ha ha ha, creator. You ain't got nothing on me. And so this is how they do that. Now, the problem with this is because, like Epstein, they use children, women, and children. Women and children hold the highest frequency on your planet. And what I mean by highest frequency is also higher conscious levels, which means they have psychic ability, they have creative ability, they can, you know, think clearly, make great choices and decisions. They can see, like, women always know, like, we just know stuff that most other species, children and men, don't really know. We just know that we know that we know. This is why we used to be the nurturers of the planet. We knew how to turn fruit into medicine and things of that nature. We knew how to, you know, we knew when men should go hunting for food. We'd wait to certain seasons. Like, we just knew, okay? This is higher conscious abilities. It's like you guys watch like Superman and things like that. Well, those type of powers actually come from the feminine, okay? Even Superman. Those kinds of powers, besides his strength, like the X-ray vision and all that stuff, that comes from the feminine. And it's okay. The man can adapt and adopt those frequencies and abilities, but he first has to heed to her guidance, because she was entrusted with that information. Now, I don't know what happened, but somehow man adopted, I don't want to say adopted, they stole her information. And then it's like they hit the restart button on the world, and they pretended that they're the ones that came up with it. And so in order to lie like that to the world, you have to make you have to live in a way where you continually lie to the woman. You have to live in a way where you continually gaslight the woman into staying in his place. I was about to say her place, but it's his place. Because in the hierarchy, a lot of people like the Pope, they all know that they are in the position of women. And especially the Pope is preferably black woman. Okay? It's something about our melanin. The black woman, that's why you will find out that the black woman is our creator on the planet. It's something about our melanin and our genes. It's something about our sex. All combining is what creates the creator. And this is why we have more abilities than any other species on this planet. The Mexican, the black, or even the black man, even the black woman has the highest capability on the planet to do anything better. Anything that she does is always going to be greater and better. This is why the Bible says the first will be last and the last shall be first. Who's the last on your planet right now? It's gotta be the black woman. So you gotta look at truth. The truth is upside down. Like in Stranger Things. The truth is upside down. So sometimes you gotta look upside down to see the truth. Okay? It's the black woman that's always getting talked about, always in poverty, always getting left to fend for herself. Things of that nature. Always getting put down. Okay? There's a reason for that. And I look at it as pure, I feel like it's a compliment because I'm looking at it from the upside down. It's a compliment. All right? And so, like I said, if somebody's destiny swapping with you and pretending your position, they're going to work so hard to keep you in a state which is ultimately a lower vibrational state. They're going to work so hard to keep you. A lot of women, black women, go through things, but ultimately their goal is to keep you low vibrationally. Because when you raise your frequency, you begin to become the creator. All your abilities begin to tap in and they begin to work together as you raise your frequency and know who you are. Now it'll be different if you raise your frequency and still be under their belief systems. It does really nothing for you. And that's a lot of times that's what the Eastern Stars are. They have great high frequencies, but they're still under the umbrella of amen, amen. Okay? Which also blocks the capabilities of becoming all that you are. I had to burst through amen because my dad was a pastor and my parents were heavy in the church. And so I had a lot of that in my system, and I had to bust through amen to really find my truest capacity of capability. I was never going to find it under the umbrella of amen. And so, like I said, this is what they must do in order to pretend that they are what you are. The man has your wisdom. I say it all the time. The G in the middle of Masonry, the symbol of Masonry. My name starts with a G, by the way. My first name and my last name. And my middle name is Rose. And so, it's very clear to me what I represent. But And I'm like the first woman on earth who know that that G is for me. That's a powerful statement because that's where it belongs is with the woman. And there is no woman on earth. I don't know. Maybe the woman that made the Matrix, maybe her, but I don't even think she knows. But that G is representative to the black woman. Why do you think like there's pictures going around how the Pope is worshiping a black woman? Why do you think that? I'm here to explain to you. Just because the Masons didn't tell you, don't mean that what I'm saying isn't true. Okay? Man, this coffee's good. It's getting kind of cold too. I'm trying to like hurry up. Um, and so their job is to always get you in a lower state. Always get you. Like, they got so sloppy with me, I started to understand through their sloppy behavior their agenda. Because I was always like really positive and high vibrational. And usually I thought like that would turn men on and stuff. You know, I wasn't doing it on purpose to turn men on, but the men that were first of all, they were purposely sent into my life. So I wasn't really dealing with normal men like I thought I was. They were always men associated with Masonry. And so they that's what they live for. And so I was always in competition with my own frequency. I was always like competing. Like, I would notice that why is it when I'm feeling really good, there's always an argument that bursts out? Like, why is it? I went on a trip um last year with this man that I was in a relationship with, and uh we're in Chicago. I'm ready to have a blast. You know, I got a pocket full of money. I'm ready to have fun. But all the whole trip, all he wanted to do was fight me. Me and him had never argued. We weren't even like that. Like, I had never slept with him. We had been together for like 7 months. But we weren't even like that to be so emotionally attached, you know? We were just like buddy buddy, and but we kind of had it for each other. And but this trip, he kept wanting to emotionally damage me. He kept wanting to guilt trip me and fought me from the time we left to the time we got back. And I had to like pretend that I liked him on the trip just to cease his fire. I had to pretend to submit, literally. Because I was like, I don't know, but I had to pretend to submit, which calmed his jets. And it allowed me to get through the rest of the trip without another fight. But it ruined my fun. But I knew, like, if I kept on being what I was, it was gonna lead to some type of fight. Like, they really wanted to kill me. I knew if I kept on with this high frequency and having a blast and meeting people and just having fun in Chicago, that which you is what you're supposed to be doing when you're on vacation. I mean, we stayed in this really, really nice 5-star hotel. Like, my children, we were all having a blast. And he was just so negative. And I had never seen him like this. And next thing I know, like, I had to, like I said, I had to pretend like I had to tone it down a few notches for him. And then I had to pretend like he was always right. Every time he wanted to fight me, I was like, oh man, like I had to put myself down. But I only did that so we can make it back home without killing each other. And then, I cut it off as soon as we pulled in the driveway. And he went homeless for a while because he was even living with me. Like, we had a bond, I thought. But now that I look back, I understand that he was a part of Masonry. And they were all in on it. He was talking on the phone like he didn't even have friends, I didn't think. But he was talking on the phone a lot on that trip. Like somebody's on the other end, like, make sure you do this. Make sure she's crying. Make sure she's, don't let her get out of hand. I feel like that's really what they be doing. Or group texting or something. And so and he spilled some beans to me, which, it's like MK Ultra, because then it adds up in your mind later that, okay, this is definitely what they were. Is the Masons, gang stalkers. This is definitely what they were. And so through all my experiences, all my life I've dated Masons and didn't know that this was going on. And I noticed also every time I'd be single, like now, then the gang stalking would pick up. It'd get heavier when I'd be single. And so it's like they date me to have a relationship with me in order to steal my energy. And this is why I came on here. Because if they are not in the correct position that they're supposed to be, then their job is to steal your energy. If they're pretending to be you, that means they're going to have to wear your clothes. That means they're going to have to embody everything that you are. And so this is why they send people to have sex with you. It's funny because Creator was like, maybe 3 years ago, Creator had me celibate. And I know why now. I've been celibate ever since. And these Masons, like, they were coming in my life to have sex with me and then take it back to their covens. Whatever, the sex they would have with me, and then they would take that energy back to their covens. And I would notice, like, the next day, I'd be drained. I'd be somewhere yelling at my kids like I lost my mind. And I don't, I love my children and we get along. We're like best friends. And so it's like, and sometimes I have to, but sometimes it'd be unnecessary. And I would notice, like, and the man would just be kind of sitting back, like not even helping me or nothing, like. And it almost felt like it was so much that I went through, y'all. There have been men putting hexes on my children to act out just because me and my children have beautiful relationship. And so, like, in their presence, all of a sudden my daughter would be acting out in their presence alone. But as soon as they left the house, everything went back to normal. See, these were curses, and Spirit was showing me this as it was happening. And I kept having to break up with him. I'm the type of woman, I attract a lot of men. I don't sleep with them, but I attract a lot of them. And so I was just like breaking up left and right because I would see, like, they're casting hexes. They're casting curses. They're projecting their own life between them and their mom. I was seeing it all. But me and my children not responsible. But they want me to be responsible so that they can take what is mine. They shove what is theirs on me to deal with. And then they take the peace that I have and pretend in front of people. A lot of them were pastors. And they would pretend that they were the ones holier than thou. When it's truly a woman, as long as she is aligned, that's who's holier than thou. Because she's entrusted, she's a portal. And she's entrusted with the information from the heavens. That's what women are. But see, man wanted to pretend that it is him that was entrusted. Okay? But it can never be that way. And as long as the world believes that, you're headed for hell. because you're believing in the opposite of the ordainment our Creator made. This would be like believing in hell, believing in Satan, and that's exactly what this is devil worship. Believing in man, I'm sorry to break it to you, but that is devil worship. That's the devil in disguise. Because, like I said, Creator is a womb. And a lot of the ancients know this. There was Isis. There was like a lot of the ancients know this. If you look up in history, they used to worship the spider. There's a book called When God Was a Woman. It was a lot of the AD centuries, but they were living in the truth. It was the beginning of time, the beginning of life, I would say. And so it's like, to me, I feel like after Cleopatra died is when they was just like, I've had enough. No more women ruling anymore. We're gonna do dot 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 now. We're gonna just lie to the world and pretend that it is man who is that connection between God and earth. It is man now. And the whole time, like, it's an illusion. It's a false statement. I don't get why humans believe that they can get by with false statements and illusions. I know, like even I see it sometimes when like my family would see the truth in me, and I can remember like my sisters pretending like they don't see it, right? And so they will believe, like they would turn their head and keep on believing whatever lie they made in their head. But the problem is the truth is real. So the truth is the you only push yourself into karmic experiences when you don't believe what is real and what is in your face. You only start to keep on pushing yourself through karmic experiences because these karmic experiences is there to to guide you to the truth. So all you do when you turn your head to the truth and look towards illusions, you just pull yourself closer and faster to karmic experiences. They think they're getting by, but then boom. And then boom, they still like, oh, I don't believe it. And then boom. It's really funny to me. That's why it was like, I knew to just see the truth and go with that. Because creator don't play. And you gonna just keep on taking yourself. Some people die through their karmic experiences. And you all you had to do was like face the truth. And so it's like humankind is coming to this karmic blow up. That's what the return of Christ was about. This karmic blow up. Because you've been lying all this time. You've been living a lie. And in this lie where you worship the devil, everybody's like, where's God? Oh my God, where's God? That baby just got killed and all them, that trailer full of children, where's God? You've been worshiping the wrong deity. And yes, you have. The world has been worshiping. That's where because another thing I don't understand is, and I'm gonna get off of here because I'm getting a little off track. But it's funny to me how like I was watching some tarots, and in the comments there's always people like praise Jesus. When did Christianity merge with tarot? There's always like you can't just make up your own religion. And that's another thing, like that's an illusion that you guys are just flowing with. Humans think they can just make up anything. God hated tarot. People need to see the truth for what it is. Tarot is something that comes from the spirit realm to human. right? Well, God said that Jesus was the only way. So Tara is debunking Christianity. They're not in the same boat. So even mentioning God while you're doing tarot is like you once again in that illusion. You can do it, but you ain't got no real power. The real power comes when you know who is who and what is what. Like I said, the creator for women is a woman. And it's for the men too. The only thing is that the creator for all of us is a womb. And this creator wanted us to know her individually. This masculine God said that somebody is between man and woman, between him and earth. Somebody stands in between, who he said his son Jesus. You have to go to Jesus to touch me, to talk to me. And tarots, that's not what they're doing. So tarots are directly speaking from creator. There's no Jesus there. So why is everybody mentioning praise Jesus? And you know, all this Christian stuff. I had to comment the other day and said, just go to fucking church. Like, stop mentioning Christian stuff in tarot. I know my mom was a fall on your face Christian. She would have never mentioned anything about tarot. They hate that stuff. I know the Christians I know, you better not come up in their church with no tarot. So why are you in our sanctuary talking about Christianity and God? Y'all mixing the truth up. And that's why there's no power coming from your tongue. And that's exactly why, and that's why these people want y'all to. That's why I think a lot of them are NPCs that are saying praise God in y'all videos, in y'all lives. A lot of them are NPCs to keep confusing y'all. And so, lukewarm. That's not how I like it. And so, yeah, so I was explaining how the Masons, they have to do what they do to take the energy and then wear it. That's why they target women. And it only takes you to know creator in order to know this. And that's why a lot of you will never know that you're being targeted, that your energy is being swiped, because you're not aligned to self. You're not aligned to yourself. It takes you to first be aligned to yourself